Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about you not needing to cut off your old friends. There's a lot of people online, and there's this narrative that's been going around for years how you need to cut off all your old friends. If you aren't supporting your mission, cut them off, right? Now, if they don't support your mission, I'll make a correction first. If they don't support your mission, fair enough, cut them off. But where the people make the mistake is if they are not remotely in doing what you're doing, for example. So I'm going to assume, because you're my target audience, I'm going to assume that you are trying to become rich and successful and fully stacked, right? And I'm going to also assume that you're trying to get into appointment setting, sales, that kind of area. Now, the mistake that I used to do, and even before appointment setting and in sales, like just in entrepreneurship in general, the mistake I used to make was that if anyone wasn't in entrepreneurship remotely or showed any interest in it, I'd just cut them off. Even if they were good people, like genuinely, if they were good people to me, if they never talk shit behind my back, if they've always been supportive, it's just the internet has propped up this narrative of you need to cut people off if they're not entrepreneurs, or you need to cut people off if they're not gym rats, right? And I see where they're coming from, for sure, but you will soon find out that this becomes more of a liability than an asset. Because I believe in karma, and if you just cut these people off, if they've been nothing but good to you, if they're supportive, despite not being on the same mission as you, but if they've been supportive, if they've been spurring you on, stuff like that, there's no reason to cut them off, okay? Any person with the right mind would know not to cut them off, to keep these people around. Because they're supportive, they haven't done anything wrong to you. Now, if they've done something wrong, if you find out, they've been talking shit behind your back, if, they make snarky comments, they try to sabotage you any shape or form, then obviously it's pretty obvious that you need to cut these people off. That's when you need to do that. That's when you need to take some sort of action against them. You stand your ground and just either love from a distance, slowly cut them off, or just hard cut off, right? It's common sense. Most of the time, it is just common sense. Like, I know when I was younger, and I don't regret anything, but if I had to go about something a certain way, then this is what I would change. When I was younger, I used to have a good group of friends. This is back in when I was in year 9, I think. Year 9, year 10. Used to have a good, solid group of friends. And then, we'd go out all the time, we'd hang out, do what normal year 9s and 10s would do. And then just one day, these guys just didn't want to be my friends anymore and just cut me off for no reason, no explanation, nothing. If I tried to approach them, then they'd probably just run away, stuff like that. Just try and full on ignore me, and I was really confused. I didn't know why. At the time, it really hurt me emotionally, but looking back now, it doesn't really bother me. It's helped me become the person I am today, so it is what it is. But anyways, at the time, you should understand that this is what annoyed me a lot. Annoyed me, frustrated me, confused me. I moved schools around a lot, so it was harder making friends, because every time I had to move new school, I'd get on with certain people, I'd become friends with them. But then before I know it, I'm off to somewhere else. I'm off to a new school, I'm off to a new city. And this is what the early years of my life actually looked like. I was born in the Philippines, came here, and then went back to the Philippines for a bit, and came here again and moved different cities, yada, yada, yada. Right? That's just how it was. So when that happened, these people I thought were real ones, were good friends, turned out to be pretty fake. Then I pretty much just shut myself from the world for a bit. That's when I found entrepreneurship though, so really it was a blessing in disguise. It wasn't really a bad thing after all, because had that not happened, I wouldn't be talking to the camera today like this. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that's what helped me get into entrepreneurship, but I also isolated myself from a lot of people. And I isolated a lot from people, even if they were good to me, right? And then that's obviously gonna lead them to think, okay, why is he acting like a dickhead? Did I do something to him? Oh, he's not fun to hang around, stuff like that. I don't want to be friends with them anymore. So I cut off. I burnt a lot of bridges in the process, whether intentionally or not intentionally. And some of these people were good people. They've not been nothing but good to me, but I just cut them off because of this thing happening. And I've burned a lot of bridges in the process. So that's one thing I would have done differently, right? And if I'd known this sooner, then I probably would still have these connections with these certain people. So just use common sense. If they're toxic, if they're not good for you, if they're draining of your energy, if they're investing into and indulging into bad habits that you know you shouldn't be indulging into, then cut them off. Be my guest. But if they've been nothing but good, to you, if they support your mission, or at least they can be indifferent, but they just don't talk shit about it or try and sabotage you, then keep them around, A lot of people just want friends who have the same passion as them. And I saw this tweet a while back, but it's a bad thing apparently, because it leaves you being one-dimensional. Because all you know now is entrepreneurship friends. You don't have friends to go out, and let's say these people are also very one-dimensional. That's all they do is business. This is another thing that I wish I would have done differently, and now it's kind of fixing itself. So have different friends, different people for different occasions. So you have maybe your business friends that you hustle with, you make money with, right? And these overlap too. There's no right or wrong, black or white answer. You can have your entrepreneurship friends, the ones you make money, you make moolah with. You can have the people you go out clubbing with, you go out party. If you're celebrating a good month, or you just, you're blowing off steam, stuff like that, you know which friends you're gonna do that with, right? So have those friends. Have friends who, let's say, are very spiritual or religious, and you have those friends, You get very deep and esoteric with them. You can have long, deep conversations with them. Maybe they could be dead broke, they could be those hippies, but if you get along with them, if they've been supportive, stuff like that, then have those friends, It leaves you, now when you have that sort of setup, your life is so much more interesting. And the thoughts in your head are so much more interesting too. And also, you've got way more interesting stories to tell. And overall, it just builds your character, it builds your perspective, and it makes you a much more interesting and respected person, right? Compared to just having a very narrow-minded perspective on life and only having a certain amount of friends, being very black and white about it. Oh, if they're in entrepreneurship, I'll be friends with them. If not, get out of my face, Same with it doesn't even have to be about entrepreneurship. It could be about gym, right? If you're a gym rat, if all your friends are gym rats and no one else, then I'd highly consider looking at the people who you shouldn't have cut off, who maybe were good to you the entire time, and maybe rebuilding those connections, or B, expanding your horizon and having different friends with different perspectives and for different occasions. It just makes you way more interesting, just all the reasons I mentioned, okay? So yeah, don't cut off friends who have been good to you, and family too. This applies to family, this applies to whoever, a lot of it is common sense. And I'm glad to have learned this lesson now. I learned it the hard way, but now I'm glad to impart it on you guys, and now you know. Okay, so anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Share this with someone who you think this will apply to, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.